Hello, everyone. This is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net, and I know the beanie is, you know, I'll explain that later, but holy cow. Holy cow. Like, okay, here's the things, folks. I watch the Oscars every year. I even throw an Oscar party. I have never claimed the awards were entertaining. I never claimed they were really that shocking. Once in a while, there's a moment that's kind of nice and it makes for good television. For the most part, it's kind of a boring show. That's why, most of the time, we're eating pizza, we're talking to each other, we're talking about whether or not that movie should or should not have won. Excuse me, and I'm fighting a cold, so sorry for the coughing. And we place bets. And so we, we're going through the night, and all throughout the night, I'm thinking La La Land is going to win Best Picture. It's going to sweep, in fact. It's going to win more Oscars than any movie in history. Early on, that ended up not being the case. It didn't win the sound mixing awards, and it didn't win the editing award, which is shocking. Because how many Best Picture winners don't win the editing? So, anyway, we're watching, and gets to Best Picture, and they announce La La Land's name, and we all kind of said, okay, so that's what's going to happen, and I start doing a couple things, because here's the thing. I write the Oscar books, which, we got a new one. We got a new one coming out. You can buy it below. Just letting you know. And I have a feature in that book called The Academy's Terrible Three. The worst nomination, the worst win, and the worst snub. Now for this year, the worst nomination, the worst snub, those were easy. Amy Adams getting snubbed for Best Actress, terrible choice. Suicide Squad getting nominated for Best Makeup and hairstyling, even though it's such an ugly movie to look at. That was the worst nomination. Then Suicide Squad won earlier that night, so I was already thinking to myself, so Suicide Squad, I guess, is going to be the worst win and the worst nomination, which unfortunately happens more often than you'd think. And I'm counting out the money. We're going to dole it out. And all of a sudden, there's like a commotion on the TV, so I'm kind of counting the money, and I'm looking, and because there's a commotion going on stage. I don't know what's going on. And the third producer who's accepting for La La Land is up, and he's thanking people, and then he says, "Oh, and by the way, we lost." And he's like, "No, really, we lost." And they found out Moonlight had won Best Picture. Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway read the wrong name. They announced La La Land, and they handed these producers their awards. They were celebrating, and then, oh, by the way, we didn't win. Moonlight won. And the main producer of La La Land, he was the one who's like calling up the cast, and I mean, he was very annoyed. You could tell he was super pissed off, and he had every right to be pissed off. But he was trying to be as graceful as possible, and the Moonlight people were definitely graceful as well, probably because they had just lost, and now they were just winning. But then the people who just won had just lost. This is terrible, terrible television. I mean, it's great if you want to watch a disaster unfold right in front of your eyes. But this is a unqualified disaster in every other way. You feel so bad for the people, and you kind of wonder, what on earth is the Academy going to do about this? What are they going to do? And immediately we start talking afterwards, like, well, do you think they're going to retroactively make it a tie? I mean, it's like, oh, but that kind of defeats the purpose. I mean, it's not like this is is this the first time the wrong name has been called out? I just do not know. I do not know. I know that there was some confusion in 1984 when when an actor came on stage to announce his picture, and without reading the nominees, he started opening the envelope and said it is Amadeus, and someone had to come on stage and confirm that yes, that was the winner. But that wasn't naming the wrong movie. This was, you called the wrong movie, and not only that, they got on stage, you hand them awards, they were getting through their acceptance speeches, and then you took it away from them. Wow, I am still reeling, like, wow, how could they have been so dumb? How could they have been so dumb? And I want to state before I go any further, I loved Moonlight. I love that movie. I might have some interesting thoughts on some of the content in the movie, but it was a well-made movie, and it was very powerful. It was number 4 on my top 10 best films of the year list. La La Land was number 1. Like, I just that almost also feels like they're taking away something from me. Because for as long as I've been making top 10 lists, the Academy Awards has never given my number one choice Best Picture. And of all the years for that to finally happen, this really needed to be that year. And they kind of took it away from me. Like, how dare they? How dare they? I'm still processing this, like, still processing this. So, okay, Moonlight's our next Best Picture winner. I can put it on the shelf with pride, and also it's historic because, we've never had a Best Picture winner that had a gay main character, much less a black gay main character, about the black lifestyle and a setting that we normally don't explore in movies. So, under any other circumstances, this would have been a great win. It still would have been an upset, but it would have been an upset in the best possible way. This is an upset in the worst possible way because nobody won. Really, nobody wins in this situation. Because Moonlight is now the bad guy. Moonlight has become the bad guy. People love La La Land and they had it, and Moonlight took it away from them. And it wasn't even just a metaphorical, well, they went as far as they could, but they lost in La La Land. No, you literally handed La La Land the award and took it away. Literally. This is not a good thing. One of my friends was suggesting maybe the next day they will retroactively announce a tie. But then, what does that say about Moonlight winning? If you tie the movies, if you give them both Best Picture, then it's almost worse because, oh my gosh, the Academy, they messed up so badly. They messed up so badly. Like, now, I almost want them to go back to all the other awards and say, hey, do we need to recount that? Do we need to make sure those winners were announced correctly? Because I have to say, the Oscars are a lot of things. They're long. They're boring. For film snobs, they, like me, they're entertaining, and yet they're also pointless. Because we like to see movies getting awarded, but we usually know that what they're awarding isn't always the best in the field, and it's, so there are a lot of things. One thing I can rarely say is that I can rarely say the Oscars are, how should I put, controversial, maybe engaging. It usually does not make for riveting television. Like I said, that's why we're normally doing other things at the party. And yet, at the last minute, there was like total shock. And what is going to happen? That's my main thought. What is going to happen now? This is insane. This is absolutely insane. This should not have happened. At the very least, Warren Beatty, who was confused about the envelope, because he got an envelope that had Best Actress for Emma Stone, and that's why he was acting so funny. And he looked to Faye Dunaway for help. He should have signaled like, he should have said, I just want to make sure, do I have the right envelope? I mean, if anything, that actually would have been a great lead up, because then the upset would have been well deserved. And, but, I feel so bad. I feel bad for the people at La La Land. They had their moment taken away. And the people who made Moonlight, guess what? They really didn't get to have their moment either. Because, again, they're the bad guys now. Their movie took it away from La La Land. Now I'm thinking about the book, and it's like the worst win of the night is very, very likely Moonlight winning Best Picture. But for all the wrong reasons. It should not have been that way. And, what's really interesting is that for the first time in years, I anticipate the Oscars will be discussed quite frequently. I expect this clip to spread like wildfire on YouTube. I can tell you right now, I am going to be downloading the show. And I'm going to be burning on a DVD, and I'm going to be keeping it, because that is a keeper. That is a keeper of a show. Wow. So, This is definitely gonna be an interesting night. I'm probably gonna be writing a blog post about it as well, which I will retroactively add in the comments below. It might not be there right away, but it'll be in the description at some point. So, wow, wow! My 89th Oscar book just got so much more interesting. I could not have possibly predicted this book now is going to definitely have some stuff in it, and I don't know how I'm going to incorporate it, but I'm going to find a way to incorporate it because wow, this is this is big, guys. This is big. Someone's going to get fired. Probably multiple people are going to get fired. I mean, at this point, the Academy can do one of two things, and neither are going to help them. They can either just say, hey, there was a mistake, and leave it at that, and just have people pissed off at them, or they can give the producers of La La Land's honorary achievement awards for La La Land, and still have people pissed off at them, but at least they would have gotten something. And I think at the very least, at next year's Oscar, they're going to have to say, we're sorry for what happened last year. We truly are. Like, I think this is going to haunt them for a long, long time. And I know it was just a simple mistake, but it was a bad one. It was a really bad one. The only way this could have possibly been worse is if they had called an individual actor or director up as the winner and taken the award out of their hands, because that's essentially what it is, the producers. But yeah, that's the only way it could have been worse. So this is and then of course that does raise a question: if Moonlight did win Best Picture, why didn't it also win Best Director? Why not make it all the more historic? You have your first black director winning Best Director. And here we were all thinking Hidden Figures was going to be the spoiler. Here we all thought Hidden Figures was going to be the spoiler. And I say spoiler endearingly because I liked Hidden Figures as well. I gave Moonlight 4.5 stars. I gave La La Land 5 stars. I gave Hidden Figures 4 stars. So please, please don't bother me with your racist comments, okay? Just save them. Save them. I am commenting on a mistake that happened. And this mistake's going to haunt them for a long time. So anyway, I am dying to know what you guys think about this. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. Pre-order the book. And flame responsibly. Have a good one.